So this shot probably looks like I could have come up with it in an afternoon, but it actually took about 4 months to kind of put together. This is how I shoot kind of like 90% of the stuff that appears in my videos. It's kind of a style and a format that took a lot of experimentation.
What's inside a wasp nest? Well, let's begin our dissection at the bottom.
So let's talk about how it comes together. So most of my stuff is object-based. So I filmed one object. I prefer in videos that are informational when you see what the voiceover or person is talking about. So for me, that means featuring the object that I'm talking about rather than featuring myself. So the object is always kind of front and center. The lighting is very specific. We have a key light over here providing most of the lighting. Then we have a fill light over here that is kind of filling it in a little. In the back over here, kind of like under my armpits, is a rim light where we're getting, if you kind of see it right here, this kind of like glow on the edge. I really like that because it makes it pop out of the background and it makes it feel a little bit more three-dimensional and not as flat. And then finally we have this glow, and usually this is obtained through kind of like a spotlight from above that's down hitting just this paper backdrop, and it has some kind of barn doors on it so that it doesn't often hit the object itself. I kind of experimented with different lighting, and my first initial thought was when I was featuring animal specimens, you're featuring bones, preserved animals, it's like a little spooky, it's a little dark. So I thought it might be kind of fun if everything was on a black backdrop and featured a pair of like white hands that were interacting with it. And it was very spooky. It was kind of creepy. And I spoke with this very deep voice when I was describing something. And when people looked at it, they thought it was great for what it was, but they would never watch another video like it just because it was weird and creepy. So I switched it up. And then I was trying to kind of, maybe it's a black backdrop to feature the specimen, and then maybe I was personally in it. The more I showed people, the more that they wanted to just see the object, to not see me, and to get a better view of the object itself. So that's why the lighting is very key, to make things look very kind of clear as possible. That's also why I always wear these blue gloves. The blue gloves serve like multiple purposes. A lot of the times I'm working with museum specimens and natural history collections that were kind of prepared using really toxic and aggressive chemicals. So you shouldn't be touching them with your hands anyways. But I also like the fact that they cover up your hands, because hands, I think, look really weird on camera, especially close-up hands. So I like covering them up so you don't see it, so there's nothing to distract you from the object itself. The blue gloves make the hands fade into the background. The blue sleeves make it so you don't even really look at the sleeves. And a lot of the shots, I don't even have this kind of like orange table too, just so we look at the object itself. The lights that I have here, I think are a brand called Felix. They're not very big. I think they're kind of made for kind of like product shoots on tables, which is perfect because that's kind of like what I'm using them for, where they're nice and compact. They have dimmers on them, and you can change the color temperatures, which is nice, again, to kind of make things pop. This whole thing also, all of my shots really have kind of like an aggressive color correction on them. First thing I do is I tend to kind of crank up the contrast very high because it gives a lot of definition on the object itself, which helps you kind of notice those nooks and crannies and makes it pop a lot more. And then I tend to jack up the saturation of the blues quite considerably to also kind of make it more interesting and more colorful, a little bit more softer and kind of playful, so that it doesn't feel as dry and dead when we're looking at something that is dry and dead, unfortunately. And then, of course, I kind of always try to shoot very shallow for the same reason that I kind of make all of my choices here, to blur out everything except the one thing that we intend to look at, the one thing that I'm talking about. And that's why the background is kind of blurred. You can kind of even see it's so shallow that some parts of the object itself are kind of blurring as well. Every decision that we kind of make in the creation of this shot is how can we focus people's attention on just the object, just the thing that we're talking about, and get all other distractions gone. I've been using the same shots for the last 3 years. Then we got the big light in the background that's making this kind of bloom. Sometimes if you just boil it down and make it very simple, it can be very, very effective. That's a secret. Don't tell anybody.